I won't be the first or last person to tell you that working, it sucks in general, man. I mean, you put in your hours, you bust your ass, and then what? You get a paycheck, and it goes straight to the needs, bills, payments that you have to do every month. And working in the public, especially in the food, retail, or hospitality industries, it can be overwhelming. You got customers who are demanding stuff, Karens, but you also got people just trying to make your day even worse. And you always try to help out because you literally get paid to do that. But I digress. I got two work stories that I want to tell that, gives you the mind of what's working like in the public. The first one, I was working at Winco Foods. And now this is a pretty good store to work in, honestly. I was in the deli department, and it was a pretty simple job. Most jobs are simple. It's just external or some things might come up that makes it more difficult. But other than that, it's really easy. Now, I was trained on the cold cuts. You get your sliced meat and sliced cheese, ready to eat food that's cold. And I got on the hot food side where, frying food, baking that chicken, that rotisserie chicken, which is pretty good. But our fried chicken was our best seller by far. We would sell a lot, especially when starting on the weekend, starting Friday, when everyone's out of school, everyone's out of work. You got these big rushes. And we would get orders, prepaid orders, and those would take priority number one. Just because, one, they paid already, and two, it's usually a big order, 200, 300 chicken minimum. The biggest I ever had, 1,000 pieces of chicken. That took literally like 4 or 5 hours just to make. And when we're doing an order, we can't really focus on the hot case items. People come in like, walk in basically. So I was in the middle of this order. It was probably around like, 200, 300 chickens. Like that was the minimum. That was at the least amount we would cook. And we had 3 fryers. And we had to use all those fryers so we could get this customer's order by the time they came. And we were informed customers like, I'm sorry for the wait. It's going to be X amount of hours until the next fresh batch, in the hot case. So people who could walk up and get it. I had this lady one time, I don't know what was wrong with her. She came out the gates aggressive. She's like, I want some chicken. I was like, I'm sorry, ma'am, but fresh batch of chicken won't be ready for another 2 hours, 3 hours because I have an order. She didn't want to hear any of that. She's like, no, I want some chicken right now. I'm like, lady, I already told you why you won't get chicken. And they just think that they ask, more aggressively, they're going to get what they want. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. Either you're going to wait or you're just going to go get your chicken somewhere else. I'm like, it doesn't affect me. I'll be here all day. But you're wasting your time. You're not getting paid. But anyways, I guess she had enough. She stormed off. And that was that. That was just a small little snippet of, dealing with the customers, them coming aggressive at you, but you got to remain calm. You got to use your professional customer service voice. Make sure you're, talking all proper and no, not really proper, but just like respectfully, you don't want to say anything that upsets them. And, if you did that, then it would cause another problems. And for me, I want minimum problems in my life. So if I can control that, cool. Now, the second story I have, I was working at Target as a stalker. I was doing it for dry groceries. So, got your peanut butter, you got your cereal, all the way to like your drinks, your sodas and all that. And it was a chill job because like I would just do my own thing. I would just like, okay, cool. And then, watching the clock because I'm like, I want to go home now. I want to go home since I clocked in. And, customers would come up to us because, we always have like a red shirt, something red. Because, Target's known for being red. I don't know. And so they would come to me and ask, can you help me with this? And I'm like, okay, cool. And I would always be glad to help because one, again, that's my job. But two, I could take a little break from, stocking, all that. And I'm like, all right, cool. So this lady asked me for some product. and I have a Zebra device, which, if you don't know, it's like it looks like an Android phone or some type of Android phone, and it's really used for, making sure we have everything from price checking to putting new price tags on in the system, so it matches it, and so a customer doesn't oh, it said it was this price, and we could check real quick, communications, and just check inventory, check how much we have on hand, check when is it going to get delivered, and I can search up an item real easily on there. And so this customer asked me for something. I forgot what it was, but that's not the point. So I looked it up, and we have 0 on hand, and we have 0 in the back, because in the back, we logged that as well. Just so like, oh, okay, cool. It's in this section right here, and there's like 6 of them, right? I was like, I'm sorry, ma'am, but unfortunately, we don't have the item. And I turned the device to her, because sometimes they don't believe your word, especially if you're just like on the bottom tier of like, you're like you just started, maybe you're like a soccer cashier, something that anyone can do, really, entry type level position. They'll listen to a manager, of course, because they got business cash flow closed usually, and like they know what they're doing. I mean, it doesn't matter to me, but I guess she didn't believe me or anything like that. So it's like, oh no, can you check in the back for me? And I thought about asking her, what, I just said yada yada yada, no, we don't have it, but I was like, okay, I'll go check in the bag. And I wasted like 10 minutes just doing nothing on my phone. I'm like, oh, pretending not to come looking, because how it works is like these 2 swinging doors. All right, they can't, customer can't just go back there. You have to be on the clock and in the uniform. And so I'm like, let me see, yada yada yada. I'm like, I like wasting time, because one, if you don't believe what I say, then go to a different person in the store, and if they tell you the same thing, then come on now, you're just wasting your time, wasting our time. And so I went back out to her. She was still standing there. Sometimes they just leave, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, I looked in the bag, but I unfortunately couldn't find the item I'm looking for. I'm so sorry. And try to fix the problem. Well, it wasn't really a problem, it was just give her solutions that she could do. You go to a different store, you could order online, you could ship it to the store and pick it up. That was pretty cool. But yeah, she's like, whatever. And then like, I guess she just left, or to ask another person, or I don't know. But I just went back to my job, and that's kind of what it's like dealing with the public, man. You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful what you say. You gotta be careful what you do, because if a customer raises concerns to like a upper management, you could be facing possible punishments for not doing the right thing in the situations. But anyway, I'll get off my rant, and I'll see you.